Many thanks to Nintendo for providing me with a free copy of Dragon Quest Builders for Nintendo Switch. As a lifelong fan of Lego bricks, I generally enjoy any video game that includes building as a gameplay mechanic. But while I've had a lot of fun playing games like Minecraft and Lego Worlds, I've always felt like something was missing. That's because the building mechanics in those games aren't actually central to the gameplay. You can build whatever you want, whenever you want, but you are rarely given a reason to build, rewarded for building well, or punished for building poorly. So I was super excited when I played Dragon Quest Builders and discovered that the building system had depth and was tightly integrated with the game's other systems. It's the best and perhaps only game I've ever played that's about building. But before we talk about what Dragon Quest Builders does right, let's take a quick look at how other games handle building. Minecraft. One of Minecraft's many contributions to gaming culture was popularizing building as a video game verb. Placing blocks helps the player navigate and terraform the world and is a satisfying tactile experience in and of itself. However, aside from simple tasks like building a bridge or staircase to reach an otherwise inaccessible area, or building a basic bunker to survive the nights, Minecraft doesn't give the player much reason to build. Nor does it give positive feedback for building. There's no satisfying sound when you complete something. Contrast this to mining, which can provide you with both experience points and resources for successfully mining a block, as well as removing that block for terraforming purposes. So the core gameplay loop of Minecraft ends up looking like this. You explore the world to find interesting resources, you mine those resources, and then use those resources to craft new items which allow you to explore new areas, mine new resources, and craft new items. Explore, mine, craft. Explore, mine, craft. The gameplay loop is literally the name of the game. There are many other gameplay systems in Minecraft like combat, farming, brewing, taming wild animals, etc., but most of those end up functioning as specialized subsystems to one of the three main systems. For example, fighting monsters is basically just a type of resource mining, and building is rarely required for any of these systems. Now don't get me wrong, people build wild and beautiful things in Minecraft, but it's not because the game incentivizes or prioritizes building. It's very easy to go through Minecraft just like a nomad, running across the land, collecting resources. You don't really need to build anything long-lasting. Minecraft is also famous for not having an overarching quest structure. Most of its directives are through small achievements, but most of those achievements don't require much, if any, building to achieve them. Even endgame objectives like defeating the Ender Dragon or defeating the Wither barely require any actual building, and compared to the amount of mining and crafting that's required to achieve those, the building really pales in comparison. Lego Worlds. Traveler's Tales has produced 20 different Lego video games since 2004. Most of those games only included building in a purely aesthetic way or as a very simple puzzle mechanic. Lego Worlds was their first game to allow for brick-by-brick building at any time. It also goes all in on the sandbox-style creativity by giving the player incredibly powerful tools for terraforming, the ability to copy and paste anything in the world, and hundreds upon hundreds of pre-built items to interact with. Unfortunately, the missions in the game are incredibly simple and repetitive. Most of the missions amount to a character requesting the player to explore the world, discover an item or two, and then paste some copies of that item back near the quest giver. Explore, discover, paste. Occasionally, a quest will involve brick-by-brick building, but the requirements are so broad that they become meaningless. For instance, I was asked to repair this police station. All I had to do was place a certain number of blocks within the green area. The blocks didn't need to be connected or even form a wall or a roof. And on top of that, once I had hit the certain number of blocks, I then went through and terraformed huge chunks of the building out, and the quest giver didn't even subtract. They only counted the blocks I had added. Why bother building well when I can just spam a bunch of pieces and then leave? I probably won't ever return to that random swamp world or police station ever again. I'd much rather just launch giraffes into the sky. Okay, let's talk about Dragon Quest Builders. At first glance, Dragon Quest Builders is an unabashed Minecraft clone. It's got the same voxelated aesthetic and has the same types of gameplay: exploring the world, mining resources, crafting items, fighting monsters, and building stuff. Most reviews have pointed out how it deviates from Minecraft by overlaying the trappings of a traditional RPG. And it's true, there are quests, dungeons, bosses, and a linear story. And all that stuff makes the game a lot more palatable than Minecraft to most gamers. But to me, the most interesting thing DQ Builders does is gamify the building mechanics. Unlike Minecraft or LEGO Worlds, where you can traipse around the world like a carefree nomad, DQ Builders anchors the player to a square plot of land and tasks them with building a thriving metropolis upon it. This is the most important decision the game makes, as it informs practically everything else. Building this town is your primary objective in the game, and everything is going to reinforce and support that. Rather than having the player collect experience points by fighting various monsters, the town accumulates points by having different rooms built inside of it. Building up a town until it's ready to face the boss is the main quest of each chapter, and every other task supports that goal. The gameplay loop of DQ Builders goes something like this. A resident gives you a quest to build a new room. You explore the world to discover and mine resources, so you can craft items you need to build a room. Building the room will then often attract new residents who can give you new quests, so you can build, explore, mine, craft, and build again. There are plenty of quests that are about combat, or just about mining or crafting, but again, it all comes back to the central goal of building up the town. When the game begins, the player doesn't know anything about how the room building system works, but the initial series of quests teaches the basics. Rooms must have walls that are 2 blocks high all the way around. Rooms must have at least 1 door and 1 light source. Whenever you create a space that fulfills these basic requirements, you get some great positive feedback of this cool animation going across the space of the room and a nice pop-up saying that you have built an empty room. It reinforces that you have done something. Completing a room is satisfying in and of itself because of those audio and visual feedback cues that make it feel like an accomplishment. Placing additional items in a room can increase the point value of the room. However, if the walls of the room are later broken or items are removed from the room, you lose those points. Placing certain combinations of items in a room will create special rooms that perform various functions. Adding a mattress to a room allows the player to sleep through the night and avoid the dangerous ghosts that come out at night, as well as restoring the player's health. Adding a crafting station and a chest to the room will spur residents to craft free items like doors or food. There's something really satisfying about returning from a long trek of adventuring to find a chest full of freshly cooked mushroom kebabs waiting for you. By creating these specialized rooms, it really makes it feel like the whole town is trying to support you in your quest. And again, reinforces that the town is the one participating in this game, not just the player. DQ Builders also does a great job of subtly teaching the player about the rules that govern room points and room functions. Some quests will give the player a blueprint that the player must follow exactly to complete the quest. While this might seem counter to the idea of creative building, being able to follow a blueprint the first time you build a room is actually really helpful. You have a 3D model you can spin around that shows you where you still need to add different items, as well as a checklist of everything you need. It's like following the instructions in a Lego kit. Following instructions is an important part of a learning process. You can't build something amazing if you don't even understand the basic rules. Other quests will give you a recipe for a room. It doesn't tell you exactly how to build the room. And once you've completed one of these quests, you are always free to alter the rooms to your liking. The game even reinforces this in later quests, in which a character will tell you specifically to go change a room that you previously created for a different quest. You can also find blueprints hidden around the world. These don't need to be completed, but trying to complete them will often teach you about a new type of room that you can build. All told, there are more than 80 different room recipes in the game, and only some of these will be explicitly taught to the player. The rest can be discovered through exploration and experimentation. But that's only one type of building in the game. In addition to rooms, it's also important to build good defenses for your city. Waves of monsters will attack your city in both scripted segments as well as random encounters. The higher the level of your city, the more frequent and powerful the monster attacks will be. If you don't build proper defenses, monsters will ransack your city, destroying rooms, taking down the point value, and destroying your hard work. I learned that the hard way. What's nice is that the defense building system operates pretty independently from the room recipe system. Building up the defenses of your town doesn't necessarily add to the point value of the town, though it can if you cleverly combine it with room recipes. And the game alternates your focus between defense and rooms, much like a platformer might alternate your focus between teaching you how to jump over gaps or how to jump on enemies. Another factor that makes the building system interesting is that space in your town is limited. The area of your town is brightly outlined on the ground, and only structures inside that border count to your point total. The player needs to negotiate room points, room functions, and town defense in order to successfully complete each chapter of the game. Even the final boss of a chapter is more about a well-built town than it is about combat. You beat the bosses through careful object placement, and they attack your town rather than attacking you, the player. Again, it reinforces that building is the primary thing this game is about. DQ Builders also encourages building out in the rest of the world outside of your town to build staircases up high areas, much like Minecraft, but here it's actually planned out. There are certain areas that are inaccessible unless you do these things, and usually there's a good item there for you to get, as opposed to Minecraft where everything's just random. Again, I'm not trying to rag on Minecraft, just to show by contrast how DQ Builders specifically incentivizes certain types of building mechanics. Dragon Quest Builders isn't perfect. The camera is kind of wonky, the combat can get repetitive and boring, and the story, it's just fine. However, I think that Dragon Quest Builders is worth playing and worth studying simply for its interesting way of gamifying building mechanics. Building is still a pretty new verb in video game language, at least in this kind of context of a character-driven action game as opposed to a simulation game. And I think there's a lot that can be learned here and hopefully iterated on in future games, including the sequel, Dragon Quest Builders 2, coming out later this year. I have to admit, I've only played through the first chapter of Dragon Quest Builders so far. I got so excited I had to make this video before even finishing the game, so I'm excited to play through the rest of the game as well as the sequel, and I hope you found something interesting in this video. Thanks for watching.